Hello, everyone. How are you today? It is Monday morning here in Sydney. It is a beautiful start to the week. We've already had a really busy morning here in the home office. It's been a busy morning. We did a bit of a photography shoot for an article that will be coming out soon about how amazing Boost Camp is, but you guys already know that. And if you don't know that, you need to know that Boost Camp is changing people's lives. I mean, it changed my life, first and foremost. It changed my husband's life. It has changed our kids' life. And now it's changing lives all around the world. And you know how we do that. And this is the really cool part. How we do that is, of course, through food, through the most amazing, delicious, like seriously delicious food. And I'm not going to apologize as a chef. I am not going to apologize for that because it is pretty phenomenal that we get to transform our bodies, transform the way we look, the way we feel, and we're doing all that with food. So it is great to have you joining me today. If you're joining me live, let me know where you're coming from. I can see all my comments because today we've got a really cool thing that I'd like to talk to you guys about. And it's one of the main reasons that I first started on my journey. I got really interested in this topic. And the topic that I'm talking about, of course, is gut health. So today's little diary entry for you guys is 5 ways to improve your gut health for weight loss. And yes, your gut bugs or your gut health will impact your weight. And this is possibly the thing that really blew my mind. And I'm going back, a few years ago now when I first started this journey. And I was looking for ways, like literally, I was Googling how to lose weight fast. That was like my mission. I was, quite significantly overweight at the time. I also had some health conditions that were definitely holding me back. I was sad all the time and anxious. You could say I was depressed, and I was kind of in this spiral of guilt, and then eating, and then more guilt from the eating and the drinking, and it wasn't pleasant. It really wasn't pleasant. So I was Googling, I'm in my room, locking myself in my room, Googling, how do you lose weight fast? And this thing kept on coming back to me. And that thing was gut health. So I thought today we'll jump into that and we'll talk a little bit about gut health because it seems to be still an area, like myself a few years ago, that we don't really take into consideration when we are wanting to lose weight. We don't think that what happens deep down inside of us, and I'm primarily talking about our large intestines, where 99% of your gut bacteria live. So what happens in that area can affect so many areas of your life. But before I do that, I'd like to say hello and good morning to Wendy, who's joining us from Darwin. Beautiful. I'm still trying to get to Darwin. So thank you for joining us, Wendy. And she's saying, well, I'm going to put that up. Wendy is saying that she can't wait to start the current Boost Camp because we do have a Boost Camp operating at the moment. It's our July-August Boost Camp. And even though we have just entered week 3, of course, you can start anytime you like because there is this community, this amazing community of people who are just supporting each other and challenging each other and cheering each other on. And that's, of course, our private Boost Camp community. So looking forward to seeing you, Wendy, joining us on Boost Camp. Also, I can see Cherie has joined us from Rockingham in WA. Good morning to Cherie. And good morning to Lynn as well. So gut health, let's get down into the nitty gritty. As I was saying, it's not often that we associate the bugs, and they're bacteria, gut bugs that live inside of us. We don't associate them with being part of that weight loss journey that we're on. And look, I get it. Some people, need to lose only a couple of kilos or a couple of pounds, whereas for other people, they've got some more significant goals ahead of them. But for all of us, being at the right weight for our body means that nutritionally, we're in a much better place as well. So when it comes to weight loss, how does our gut bugs, how does that affect whether we can lose weight or whether we're holding on to weight? So let's firstly talk about, what it means to have a healthy gut. because that's really important, isn't it? What does it mean? What does that mean to our body? So when it comes to our healthy gut, we can experience things. This is having good bacteria living inside you as opposed to, negative or unsupportive bacteria, bad bacteria. I like to call them gangsters, like gangster bacteria. You can expect, of course, if you've got a clean gut or a good gut health, you can expect to be able to absorb your nutrients better. You can have less risk of developing allergies and intolerances and autoimmune conditions. A good gut or good gut health also means that we have access to a strong immune system, because up to 70% of your immune system actually lives inside of your gut. And the other thing that having a healthy gut means is that we're able to better regulate our moods, because another hormone that is created in our gut, and we're talking up to 90%, is the hormone that is literally responsible for just how you feel on a daily basis, is your feel-good hormone. And that hormone is serotonin. So 90% of serotonin is created in your gut. So if we don't have good bacteria in there, we don't have access to that feel-good hormone. So the chances of us being able to handle stress, being able to handle anxiety, massively reduces. Have you guys all heard of the term good food, good mood? It is scientifically proven that when we consume food that feed our healthy gut bacteria, and we are supporting that bacteria that live inside of us through good nutrition, we actually are able to regulate our moods better. There's less risk of us developing anxiety and depression and sadness. And this was literally me before I started on my journey. I was sad all the time. I was anxious all the time over little things that, never used to make me anxious. And I was depressed. I was just blue more than I was happy. And I realized after eating like delicious, nutritious food, didn't take months. It literally took meals to be able to change and transfer the bacteria that's inside of me. So I had more good guys than gangsters or bad guys, because what your body's always trying to do, always, is to get itself in balance. And if you've got more bad bacteria than good bacteria, that is not a good balance to have, right? We want to shift that. We want to make that change. That's the transformation that we're looking to make when it comes to our gut health and how it can support our weight loss as well. So I've got 5 ways for you guys today. I do. Oh, I just saw Laura come in. Hello to Laura, also to Georgina and to Alana as well. So I've got 5 ways that we can, and you can start these things today. Like, you can start this journey today. Even if you're waiting because you've got work or you're busy, or, you can't start Boost Camp if you want to come and join us on Boost Camp, even if you're just waiting to start, there are things that you can do right now today that can actually help to turn that balance from bad bacteria go down, good bacteria going up. That's what we want to do, right? And here's my top 5 ways. All right. So number 1 way, probably my favorite way, is you just need to eat lots more fiber. Lots and lots of fiber. So the majority of humans, as we walk around this planet, eating whatever, and a lot of us do, we kind of mindlessly just eat our way through food. Like, we look at it as being fuel. We eat a lot of food from the supermarket, a lot of food from the drive-through, or processed foods, or pre-made meals. We're not in charge of what we're eating. So the majority of people, and we're talking about 90+% of people, they lack the ability to have that fiber content in their gut, which is literally feeding their healthy gut bacteria, because that's what fiber does. And of course, I'm not just talking about like having a drink of Metamucil. I'm talking about eating your fiber. So having a diet that's rich in fiber, what does that actually look like? So a diet that's rich in fiber means you're eating a lot of plants, a lot of fibrous plants, all those wonderful vegetables that you potentially see in your veggie shop that you're like, walk past them, I'm talking about things like our mushrooms, our avocados, tomatoes and eggplants and cauliflower, zucchini, broccoli, different types of broccoli. You've got broccolini, you've got normal sized broccoli. You've even got different types of cauliflower now. You've got purple cauliflower, your normal common white variety. There's also like one that looks like, It's called fiorete, which is a type of fioretto, sorry, which is a it's a cauliflower, but it's another different type of cauliflower. So you've got these amazing varieties of vegetables that we can be filling our basket with and also filling our body with because they're high in fiber. But also don't forget about our other types of fibers, like flaxseed is one of my favorite types of fibers. I make flaxseed bread out of it. I make flaxseed pudding. I add it into so many different things. And then, of course, there is chia seeds, which again, really, really high in fiber. So there's lots of ways that we can be getting fiber into our daily intake. And you can start doing that today. Just eat more plants. Like literally eat more plants. You will be feeding your healthy gut bacteria because that's what fiber does. You'll be feeling fuller longer, which is fantastic rather than, always searching for food. And not only that, you'll be making sure that you have regular bowel movements, which is important to clean waste out on ideally a daily basis, right? So fiber is my number one tip. Eat more plants. And make sure those plants are fibrous plants, so they're high in fiber. Number two is eat more fermented foods. So your gut bugs, they love fiber, but my goodness, if you want to really supercharge, seriously supercharge what's happening in your gut, then you want to go for our fermented foods. That food, if I see fermented attached to food, I'm like, I'm eating that, whatever that might be. I do have favorites though. Let me run through my favorites with you guys. So my favorites are, I do absolutely adore sauerkraut. I do make my own, but you don't have to make your own. You can purchase it from the supermarket. Go and purchase it today. You'll be feeding your healthy gut bacteria and creating a better gut environment. Just make sure when you do purchase sauerkraut or kimchi, it's very similar it's different in flavor, but it has some very similar properties as they're both fermented foods. They're both known as symbiotics. So they have prebiotics and probiotics in there. So it's like fertilizer for your gut bugs, and your gut bugs absolutely love it. So go out today and purchase some sauerkraut or some kimchi. Just make sure the sauerkraut is from the refrigerated section of the supermarket and the kimchi as well. And also make sure if you are purchasing kimchi, make sure there's no corn syrup or, high fructose, anything or sugar. Honestly, it doesn't need it. It's only usually added in there for flavor, which again, it doesn't need, or it's added in there to help it to preserve a little bit longer. Make sure your kimchi doesn't have any of that. It does not need it. Traditional kimchi recipes do not have any requirement for a sweetener. That's not what kimchi is about. So for me, I love sauerkraut and kimchi. I eat it every single day, one or the other, or both some days, depending on what I'm eating. I also absolutely love tempeh, which is the fermented soybean. Comes in a block. Again, you can find it in your supermarket. Treat it very much like an alternative for protein. So for example, I like to take my tempeh, cut it up into cubes and add it to a stir fry. It is fabulous. Don't eat it on its own. Here's my warning to you. It's a bit funky on its own. It's all right. I'm used to it, but I like to put it in the air fryer, make it a little bit crispy, throw it into a stir fry. It'll go into soups, in little cubes, stuff like that, right? So fermented soybean, also known as tempeh, is really good and readily available in the plant-based section of your supermarket as well. Another great fermented food, again, another favorite, is miso. So I like to choose an organic miso paste, and then I just add it to stuff. I will add a teaspoon into my omelet mix. Delicious. I will add some into a stir fry. Amazing. I will make a glaze out of it with fiber syrup, which I'm going to talk about next for you guys. I will make a glaze with miso and fiber syrup, mix those two together, and you've got a fermented prebiotic that you can put on salmon and then air fry it, that you can throw onto, into a stir fry. You can put it on meat, on beef. You can add it to your tofu or your tempeh. It's just absolutely fabulous. And it is incredible. Also, I love to put it with eggplant. I put a bit of a glaze on the eggplant, throw that in the air fryer for 15 minutes. And you've got miso glazed roasted eggplant. Delicious. I know that some of you guys would have tried that. I know you've tried it. because it's a favorite. Stephanie's just saying how much she loves miso as well. It is beautiful. And again, we're talking about this fermented food because that's what miso is. So don't be afraid to improve your gut health by consuming fermented foods every single day. Like every day I'm into the fermented stuff. Number 3, as I did mention before, is of course our prebiotics. So what we're talking about, so you guys have all heard of probiotics, right? So probiotics are your healthy bacteria. And that's what lives inside of your intestine when you've got good guys in there. You've got probiotics that live in there. Well, probiotics need something to feed on. So they literally eat prebiotics. So these are the types of foods that go into your body, into your large intestine, and feed all your probiotics, all your healthy bacteria. So the types of prebiotics, think of it again like a bit like fertilizer. We're talking about things like onions and garlic. They're really high in prebiotics. I'm also talking about asparagus as well, would you believe, is really high in prebiotics. But what I also have, and this is one of the reasons why we sell this in my store in Bridget's.shop, is, let me drag it up for you guys. What we do have that I love is, of course, there we go, our inulin powder and our fiber syrup. So I did mention before that I make a glaze out of the fiber syrup and miso, and then I put it on pretty much everything. Haven't tried it on one of my healthy breads yet, but I reckon I should at some time. So these products here, they are prebiotics. That's what they are. And in fact, they are so incredible as a prebiotic, is that their job is to go into your amazing gut and feed your healthy gut bacteria. So we do it through Bridget's.shop, of course. That's where you can go and purchase them. But our fiber syrup is literally a fiber. It tastes, my goodness, it tastes like candy floss or fairy floss or cotton candy or whatever you want to call it. It is made from pure chicory, which is the best source of prebiotic that you can get, of inulin. And it is in a syrup form, so it replaces all those unhealthy syrups like rice malt syrup, which is basically just sugar, or golden syrup, or even maple syrup. And can I also say honey as well, which are really high in fructose. So our sweet as fiber syrup that you can purchase from our store, and please do, because it's the best stuff in the land. Like it literally is. It's the best stuff in the land. That is a prebiotic. So a squeeze of that through your miso, and then you use it as a glaze. You are feeding your healthy gut bacteria. Like how amazing is that? And you're doing it and it tastes like candy floss. So we've got our fiber syrup, which is a prebiotic. And then the other one there is, of course, our inulin powder. So inulin powder, they're both made from the chicory plant. In fact, they have 2 ingredients to make them. It's chicory root and water is what makes these 2 products. Of course, it goes through the process to make one as a powder and one as a syrup. But actually, we purchase these 2 products. They come from Europe. We import them into Australia so that you guys can have the best quality prebiotics on the planet. So not only are you getting that sweetness that tastes like candy floss from the syrup or from the powder, you're getting prebiotics. You're getting the best prebiotics, which comes from inulin. And I'm not going to apologize for how amazing these products are. In fact, we had the opportunity to meet the producer of those 2 products. I think it was last week or the week before. And it was such an amazing conversation to actually meet the person who's responsible for the farms in Belgium where they grow the chicory root. And then he was running us through the story about how they harvest the chicory. The chicory then goes onto these big barges and they float the chicory down the canal to the factory where it's just a combination of chicory root, so the plant, and water to make these amazing prebiotics. And they're the best in the world. And we get to have those where we are. I just think that is just phenomenal. We are so incredibly lucky that we have these products. So we've got our prebiotics. So like I said, onion, garlic, asparagus, eat more garlic, especially black garlic. How good is that? Oh, I love black garlic. Eat more onions. Actually, my onion marmalade So good. It is. If you haven't tried my onion marmalade, it is amazing. Caramelized onion marmalade. Eat more asparagus when it's in season. And of course, you get the opportunity to increase the growth of your probiotics by having our inulin powder, our pure as inulin powder, or our sweet as fiber syrup. I mean, it's just amazing. So number 3, eat more prebiotics because they feed your probiotics, which is your healthy gut bacteria. Okay, number 4, and this one, again, often there is not much of a connection when it comes to staying hydrated, which is number 4, and your gut health. So the way that water works when it comes to our body is we know that every cell in the body needs to have, hydration. But when it actually specifically comes to your gut is firstly, we need fluid or water in order to soften like waste or stool and have that pass through our intestines out the other end. So you need water just to make sure that, you're pulling regularly, basically. And that's a really important thing. You don't want waste sitting around in your intestine too long. You want to get rid of it really efficiently and effectively. How do we do that? Make sure that you are doing this, all right? Make sure you're doing, and that's water. Make sure you're doing your water intake every day. But not only is it about removal of waste in a timely fashion, which we need, obviously, we need to drink our fluid. But the other thing that water does is it actually supports the lining of your gut. It supports that lining. And as it's supporting the lining, this is water, it supports the lining of your gut. And as it's supporting it, it's also supporting the balance of good bacteria. So someone who drinks very little water is potentially got a compromised gut lining because they're just not getting enough water. They also may be constipated because they're not able to remove the waste in a timely fashion. And that balance of good bacteria is also negatively impacted as well. So just drink more water. Start today, right? Like these are things that you can start doing today. Number 4, drink more water. I go through personally around about 3 to 4 liters a day just because I like it. It's delicious. It is just what I do. And being able to get into that habit is a great first step, isn't it? It's a great first step. So number 5, after staying hydrated, was at number 4. Number 5, is we really need to limit. We need to limit the amount of ultra processed and processed foods that we are eating. Oh, I love this comment from Wendy. Wendy's saying she never leaves home without them. And we're talking about, of course, our inulin powder and our fiber syrup. Yeah, I travel with it too, Wendy. I absolutely do. Meryl is saying she loves our products. Thank you, Meryl. They are good. And look, I'm not going to apologize for seeking out the best quality for you guys. If I'm going to put it into my body, I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the best quality as well. And it's like that with all our products. But it's specifically so when it comes to our inulin powder and our fiber syrup. And we're actually planning, here's something for you guys to all kind of put into here, keep it in here, is we are planning a food tour. So we can actually go to the farms where they grow the chicory and then go to the factory. We've been invited to Belgium to actually see the production. So we're thinking, hey, why don't we do a food tour of Europe, a healthy food tour of Europe next year? Just keep that in mind, around about September, October next year, 2025. Just saying. All right. So thank you also for Meryl for saying that as well. So number 5 is, yes, we need to limit or remove our reliance on ultra-processed and processed foods because, of course, those types of foods that we consume a lot of, well, maybe not you, and definitely not me now, I used to, is those types of foods, like in some cases, they're not even food because the body doesn't recognize them as food. The body doesn't recognize them as being full of nutrition, and your body just wants nutrition. It doesn't crave chocolate. It doesn't crave potato chips. Your body doesn't know what those are. Your body just knows whether it's getting nutrients that it can support you throughout the day with or not. And often we put these ultra processed foods into our bodies that the body's just like, I don't even know what to do with this. It's like, for example, it's like putting really bad petrol in your car, like really bad quality petrol in your car. That's what these ultra processed foods are like. You're putting in the worst possible fuel, yet you're expecting your body to run and hum like a sports engine. Eventually, you put in enough bad fuel into your car's going to break down. That engine will start to fail. Parts of that car just won't want to work anymore. And it's exactly the same with the body. As we're trying to, have this exceptional, ability to have all this energy throughout the day. We want to be obviously we need to be at the perfect weight for us. We need to be, healthy, yet we're putting in really poor petrol every single day. And that's what ultra processed food is. And how it negatively impacts your gut health is that it promotes the growth of bad bacteria. So it's almost like you're feeding the bad guys when you're eating a diet that's really high in processed foods. Look, every now and then is fine. And I kind of have this rule of thumb that, 75, no more than that, actually, it's more like 85 to 90% of the time. It's more around about that scale, 85 to 90% of the time, I'm eating foods that I know support my gut health. Every now and then, there might be an extra glass of wine that sneaks in there. There might be a half a packet of chips that I share on the couch every now and then with my husband. But in general, I eat the food that I know is the right fuel. It's the quality petrol. And the bad fuel is a treat every now and then. But majority of times I'm eating well because, again, it's about finding that balance for your body. And I don't want to promote the growth of bad bacteria in my gut because I work really hard to support it. So I'm hoping you've enjoyed this today. And I'm hoping that, if you're sitting on the fence about whether you can start to improve your health and your weight, you can just take these 5 simple elements. We'll just recap very quickly for you guys. Number 1, eat lots of fiber, plants, right? You want to have a diet that's high in fiber. Number 2, eat fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkraut, etc., etc. Number 3, you need to eat your prebiotics. That, of course, is our inulin powder, our fiber syrup, things like onions and garlic and asparagus, really high in prebiotics. Number 4, stay hydrated. Drink all your water. And number 5, you need to limit or ideally remove processed and ultra processed foods from your diet. You do these 5 things now, today, and you're going to improve your gut health. It doesn't take months. It takes meals. I hope you've enjoyed today's little session. I look forward to talking with you guys again. Have a fabulous day. Whatever it is you're doing, wherever you are in the world, be well and be safe. And we'll see you guys soon. Bye.